Welcome back, everybody. We are Beyond Movies. I am Callum. That's Kyle. Kyle will pull in a face. For some reason, Kyle keeps putting himself in my room when we do these videos. You know, he does have a bedroom. It just looks weird.
Yeah, stop pointing it out. I don't have a weird looking bedroom.
I never said you got a
But
weird looking bedroom. I says it looks weird
well,
that you're
yeah,
doing
no,
this.
it's just it's not weird. It's just magic, movie magic.
Wow, that should be our channel name, Movie Magic.
Rebrand. Let's do the rebrand
Yeah, wow, that was crazy. But
after printing our uniforms.
yep, we got 72 of them.
Yep,
Already,
on the
all ready
way.
to ship out to Australia.
Fuck yeah, buddy.
Fuck yeah, buddy. Anyway, let's get on to our first topic. Something I never thought we would speak about. Apparently, Natalie Portman is in talks to join the cast of Ahsoka Season 2. Now, if you'd have asked me before Fall Love and Thunder came out about this, I'd have said, nah, no chance she does this. But now that she did return to the role of Jane Foster in Fall Love and Thunder, I see her doing it, if it's true. If she does return, it will be in flashbacks, obviously. And we got a pretty exciting episode with some flashbacks in Ahsoka Season 1. In fact, I know you loved that episode. So it's kind of setting it up for some nice flashback stuff. Maybe some stuff that we wanted. We said we want like a Clone Wars-esque show. Maybe this will be a backdoor pilot, because we've heard rumblings as well that Ewan McGregor might be joining the cast of Ahsoka Season 2 as well. We know Hayden Christensen's going to be back for Ahsoka Season 2. But what do you think of this?
You know where I stand with this. I
I
did
don't.
enjoy Ahsoka season 1. It was definitely one of those like. It still felt a little bit like a Disney show format. Like it had the villain that was not revealed until the very end. The length of the episodes felt very weird and cut
Yeah.
off. So I would much rather them do. It don't have to focus on Anakin and Obi-Wan. But I would trade a season 2 of Ahsoka. Keep season 1. Season 1's fine. I'd rather trade that in for something where, for a Clone Wars live action episode. If it were one episode that was like an hour and a half long, or just like a mini film or something, I don't know, anything like that, where it features all these characters like Ahsoka, of course, Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Padme, obviously, just in their sort of like Clone Wars era attire, the Clone Wars sort of setting. That's all I want, man. I'm fine with just having one episode of that. It would be literally perfect, and I think it would really be a love letter to the fans. That really did keep Star Wars alive, despite the sequels and things like that. So that's where I kind of stand with it. When it comes to Ahsoka, obviously, you can still have the grown-up version partake in the Mandalorian film, which is obviously, I'm pretty sure she's going to be in that. So,
I don't think she will be.
but I think she may have like a small,
No,
more part
because
in it.
they're at the other side of the galaxy with no way of getting back. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know until season 2.
And I think if Season 2, they haven't started rolling on it yet, so that won't be out until after the Mandalorian and Grogu film.
Yeah, but I
And
mean, Star Wars timelines are all fucked anyway. So,
and
and they introduced time travel to it.
well, here's the thing: this is going to lead into another film, the Dave Filoni film, and obviously depending on the success of the Mandalorian and Grogu and Ahsoka Season 2, that'll probably be if that happens or not. So, yeah, but I like what you're saying. I think we could, in Ahsoka Season 2, just get a Clone Wars episode as like a flashback. I don't see why not. To me, it makes sense. They kind of did it in season 1, even though Star Wars has never really told its story through flashbacks. No reason why you can't. I really wouldn't mind a Clone Wars episode flashback. Or, this is taking me back some years now. You never watched it, but the first 5 seasons of Arrow took place. They did. A bit of the episode would take place in the present day. A majority of the episode, and then there'd be like 10 minutes worth of flashbacks in the episode to when he was on the island that he got stranded on, Lian, I think. And they did that for the first 5 seasons until it caught up to the point where Oliver actually got off the island because he was on the island for 5 years. I wouldn't mind him going through the entirety of Ahsoka Season 2 and having little flashbacks through every episode telling an overarching story that correlates with the main story as well. So when you get to the end, it kind of feels a bit more complete.
It's a bit difficult, obviously, like, because, they've already sort of established what's happening and there's something happening now, and obviously got the sequels, which unfortunately kind of block a lot of potential storylines. It's amazing what they've done so far with the story, where Luke, we get to see Luke and Ahsoka, them two characters finally meeting. That was a really beautiful little moment there. And yeah, for the Rebels fans, I get it. It's very much like, because I haven't watched Rebels. I want
Really
to,
good.
and I've just not come round to it. I still need to get through Clone Wars. So, but yeah, I mean, Natalie Portman coming back, I'm up for it. I don't see why she can't. Obviously, it will be flashback, but I'm so down for
Yeah,
it.
because she can't come back as a Force ghost.
No.
She's not Force sensitive. So, I think it definitely will be a flashback. Or another reality or something like they did in, Season 1 with a world between worlds and stuff like that. But, yeah, I'm not opposed to it. Let's just hope it's good. Right, Kyle, let's get on to the next topic. Captain America Brave New World. The pre-sale numbers are out. This is, how many tickets a film's selling before, it comes out in theatres. Doesn't necessarily mean they're all for the opening weekend. That one's for you. It's like some good-ish, bad-ish news for Captain America Brave New World with its pre-sale tickets. Now look, I'm going to have to explain this in loads of different ways, not to you, but to the people here who are watching. So when I say Captain America Brave New World is doing better than the Marvels did for pre-sale tickets, that's great. When I say it's not doing as good as Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, that's like, oh, that's not good. But then I also say in that sentence, it's doing just as good as Dune Part 2 did in pre-sale tickets, which went on to make more money than Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania made just under $500 million, but Dune Part 2 went on to make $770 million. So, just because it's tracking lower than Quantumania doesn't mean it's going to end up making less than Quantumania. Just because it's tracking higher than the Marvels doesn't mean it's going to end up making more than the Marvels. Even though I think it will. I don't think it's going to make less than $200 million. So with all these things in mind, and like we say the whole time, the reason why Doom Part 2 did so good is because it's a good film, and it had legs, and people kept going to see it. Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, quite a critical failure to most people. So it would have made a brunt of its money up front. Everyone would have gone to go see it. I think it was the highest opening for an Ant-Man film. And then there were no good word of mouth, so nobody went back to go see it. So just because it's lower than Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania right now, doesn't mean it's necessarily going to end up in that ballpark. So, Kyle, it's It's doing lower than Quantumania right now, but it's in that Dune Part 2 ballpark. What are you thinking?
Well, it's definitely like we were saying before, Marvel's going to have to take a hit financially at the box office.
Yeah.
But if they can hit it with the critics and they can get a good mouth word of mouth, that this might make a better movie a bit more than it. The drop off won't be as significant in sort of like the next weeks after it after its release. So that's one thing you have to keep in mind there. Like Marvel are kind of aware that people are a bit, kind of getting sick of Marvel movies now. They're just kind of like,
No.
there's still
People are sick of Marvel movies. They're sick of mediocre movies.
well, yeah, no, you're right. I just mean in the sense of like it's the sick of seeing the Marvel brand now, like and because the movies have
Yeah.
been mediocre, they have been subpar. Like, but at the end of the day, still, I mean, we have had some great flicks after Endgame. I know a lot of people still to this day say, "Oh, after Endgame, everything went to shit," and it's like, well, no, it didn't, because you had No Way Home, you had Shang-Chi, you had a couple of good flicks here
Guardians
and there.
Volume
Yes,
3.
there you go.
Yeah.
So it's not like Marvel has gone down the toilet fully, but when it comes to the Disney Plus stuff, it definitely has. And the Marvels, unfortunately, also wasn't hot shit either. It was pretty bad.
That
But
is by far the worst MCU film ever made. I hate it. The more I think about it, the more I hate it.
yeah, I know. I liked the sort of like premise of the villain a little bit,
Yeah.
but they were just not fleshed out at
I was
all. And
so looking
you
forward to
know,
that film because of Aman Vellani as Kamala Khan.
I
Like,
was as well, and I
the
was
way
really
she plays
disappointed.
that character makes you fall in love with the character. Because no one does it more than
Yeah.
an actor who's interested in playing that character. Makes you more interested in it as a person. But yeah, we were discussing this the other day. Marvel knows. Let anyone say anything else that they want. Marvel knows that they are going to lose money with this film. Even if it hits 600 million, that'll probably be its break even. Because they've had to do extensive reshoots and everything. All the stuff like that. And it's not like they're pulling away from the marketing. They're really going in for the marketing. I can imagine there's going to be a spot for the Super Bowl as well. That won't be cheap. That's the week the film comes out. No, the weekend before. The week the film comes out for us, the weekend before. That's going to try push ticket sales, the biggest sporting event of the year. But I do believe they are going to lose money on this. But they just want it to be received well. I think that's all they're bothered about. They just want it to be received well. And guess what? If it is, people will go back and keep seeing it. Like a Dune Part 2. So there's that to think about as well. So just because it's tracking below Ant-Man and the Lost Quantumania doesn't mean it's going to make what Quantumania did. It could make less. It could, if the film's shite and people aren't going back to see it, then it absolutely could make less. I think we're going to start to know a bit more, though, in the next couple of weeks. When the early screenings start happening, social media embargoes come out, then the review embargo comes out, then we'll start to know a bit more. And whether or not tickets are going to go up more, or not really selling as much. But yeah, as of right now, I think they're in a good position. So, yeah. Anyway, let's move on to our next topic, Kyle. You ready? You ready for this? It's been confirmed that Supergirl will appear in Superman. Who's seen this coming? Not me. Now, Kyle, let's go back to one of your concerns about the film. One I don't really agree with you on, but I'll bring it up anyway, is you think this film's becoming a bit too overcrowded. Half your head's disappearing, but for you, I suppose that's a favour. You got a concern that this film's a bit too overcrowded. Do you think adding a Supergirl into the mix is just adding to that overcrowdedness. For me, I don't think it'd be a big scene. In fact, I don't even think it's going to be a scene in the main movie. I do think it'll be a post-credit zinger. And Millie Alcock flies in as Supergirl and goes, "Hey up, Kal-El, my movie next." And then it cuts to black. So, do you think this is adding to the overcrowdedness, in your opinion, or are you happy? It feels like that old Marvel way of like, here's the next film, here's a post-credit for the next film.
So one thing I want to say is like, yes, that is one of my concerns, but like, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, okay, it's going to be fine because it's James Gunn. He's able to balance these characters out well. I just, I believe that it is going to be focused on Superman. He is going to be the main star of this film,
Especially
obviously.
now that you've seen a trailer now.
Yeah. So I agree with you, Callum. Though it's definitely going to just be a post-credit scene. I think if she shows up in the actual film, I will be very, very surprised. I just think it might take away from his character a bit, which I don't want. Like, I want this to kind of focus on him, and you've got all these other characters already. If you're going to give them a bit of focus and give them a bit of screen time, fine. But if you add Millie Alcock's Supergirl, then I think it could be a little bit of overcrowdedness. I think the best course of scenario, the best thing to do is post-credit scene. Gets people excited, gets people sort of like, ooh, what's to come next? Gets people gripped into this universe, which is what you want, really. You want to start your universe off with a strong film, and you want to keep them, tied down with, okay, what's coming next?
Yeah, no, definitely. And like I say, one thing I always echo is, I do think you've come away from this stance a bit, is I don't think it's overcrowded. It is literally, we are in a world of superheroes, and the supporting characters in that film are going to be superheroes, and if we're already in this world of superheroes. So that's one way I see it. But I don't think a Supergirl appearance would overshadow Superman in the film. I think if a report came out that Batman's going to be in Superman, I think that would overshadow it just a little bit. Even if it's for 5 minutes, people are, yeah, but you see that Batman scene. But I don't think, I do like Supergirl as a character. I don't think she actually has the ability to take away from that. I think it'd just be a nice, fun scene. But then again, I do think it would be a post-credit scene. Because if anything, it seems like they're shooting it now with, Supergirl shooting now. It seems like they're going to probably just shoot it now and then tag it on at the end of Superman. So that makes sense as well. Do you see maybe if this is going to be a post-credit scene, like maybe a Jason Momoa Lobo make an appearance or something like that?
I don't know. I mean, it's difficult to say. I mean, you've kind of got to look at the past a little bit as like, Marvel and DC films, have they done that in the past? I mean, they cast this character so early on, and we found out about this. It's like Doom being announced. When Doom was announced as RDJ, it's like one of our things is like, okay, I'm pretty sure Doom is going to show up now in Fantastic Four.
Yes,
but it could just be an early, super early casting for Jason Momoa. I mean, he's a big star. You want positivity going into this universe. You want all the good good press that you can get for it, and I think Jason Momoa is definitely like someone who will bring positiveness.
I think Momoa's known about this since back end of 23. Definitely. Same with Millie were cast back end of 23, I believe, or was it halfway through this year? I can't remember. I think it was middle of this year, but I think Momoa's known for a long time.
Not this year, last year.
Last year, yeah. Sorry, it's January.
But yeah, no, I don't know. I mean, if she shows up, if Millie shows up, great. It'd be awesome to see her on screen in the film. For me, I would rather see her. I'd rather see like a conversation where they're as themselves rather than being Superman and Supergirl there on screen. I'm like, cool, I want to see that, but I want to see that later, a little bit later down
Yeah.
the line. I'd rather just see these two characters sort of communicate on like a human level. That's where maybe
Not a
like,
Kryptonian level.
yeah, I'd rather that, sort of like how did, because obviously the thing with Supergirl is she was there before Cal, and maybe he's looking for some advice. You
Yeah,
never know.
maybe. I don't think in this universe. I think it's played. It depends on it. I think the common thing is they were both sent at the same time to Earth. She was sent to protect him, but some timey wimey wibbly wobbly stuff happens, and she actually ended up getting there a lot later than Cal.
Yeah, which makes me think that's what's going to
But
happen. I mean, you cast someone like Millie
yeah,
who
he's younger.
looks younger, yeah.
Yeah,
So I think that's the way they're going to go, and I think it would be a cool dynamic with seeing these two sort of like, you know, him being the now older, more experienced, but like, everyone can still accept. Everyone needs help sometimes, so it's nice to get a bit of help or advice.
it's like that. Sorry, you just reminded me of that thing. It's like in a child's bedroom, and it says even Spider-Man goes to bed on time. Even the Hulk does something, and it goes. Even Batman doesn't lie to his parents, and someone's going, "What the fuck?"
I haven't seen that,
Yeah. Um.
but it's
But
class.
no. But then again, what you're talking about is the story they're going with for Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, is based on the comic Woman of Tomorrow, where she lives on a piece of Krypton. Like part of the wreckage of it. So maybe she were never sent.
It would be a very new and interesting thing to do, especially with like every other film, every other movie version of Superman Krypton is just gone. So okay, if that's the case, then it's definitely a post-credit scene.
I'm just looking for something I can.
It doesn't make sense for it to be a scene in the film
It's like
because it
DC. It's
doesn't.
like you see that that's Krypton.
It, it doesn't need to. It doesn't look like it needs to sort of like focus on that sort of thing yet. It's focusing what's happening with the film. I mean, the film was originally called Superman Legacy. It's going to be dealing with that sort of
Yeah.
situation. I think it'd fit better for a post-credit scene. So that's where I stand on it. It's definitely a post-credit scene.
Yeah. No. Definitely. Are you itching your balls, by the way?
I'm drinking Pepsi.
Alright. It's just he sent me a video in the middle of one of our videos where he's itching his balls.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, he did. You tea ready, but yeah, by the way.
Not yet.
Alright, anyway. Wolverine. There has only ever been 2 Wolverines in live action now. We can say that. Because of the Cavalry, it counts. And Hugh Jackman. Rumour has it that, Hugh Jackman wants to stay on. We'll do that again. If you're just watching the Raw show, then I'm not cutting this out because I've got to go to bed. But anyway, Hugh Jackman wants to stay on as Wolverine, Kyle. Apparently, for another 10 more years. And there's another trilogy in the works. This man will be 66 in 10 years' time. I think he could do it. Hopefully another trilogy is with him and Ryan. Because that's really the only place I want to see Hugh now. Is, make an appearance in the Avengers films. Maybe Avengers Secret Wars. But I kind of only want to see him with Ryan now. And maybe Channing Tatum as Gambit. I think we're both in the mindset of, that's fine, Hugh can be there as Wolverine, as Logan. But I think we both want to see Daphne Keane, X-23, be the main Wolverine in the upcoming X-Men films. I think that just makes the most sense, and the mantle has already been kind of passed in a weird way. So you could definitely do it if they go in with a younger cast, and it makes it a bit more different as well.
I'll disagree just a little. I don't really see the mantle of Wolverine being passed or anything like that. It, I get what you're saying. I agree with you. I think Daphne Keane should definitely be this new version's Wolverine,
Yeah,
so to speak.
in the X-Men.
And I agree with that in the X-Men, yeah. And I think the best thing you can do is have Hugh Jackman's Wolverine just be his own sort of solo thing,
Yeah,
because being realistic here, that's how it's kind of always been. Like even the X-Men films focus heavily on Wolverine, regardless. So if you put Hugh Jackman's Wolverine with these, new X-Men characters, people are just gonna kind of like, it'll be harder for them to sort of come to terms with uh, knowing that this version of Wolverine, which we've been watching for years and years and years, 20
yeah.
years, as like it's like
25 year at this point, mate.
yeah, I know it's years and years and years being like this main character, when in the new X-Men he's not really going to be the main character. It's mainly
Yeah,
going to be like Cyclops and Jean and these other characters that really didn't get much great service to their characters in the previous X-Men film. So I think if Hugh Jackman's going to come back, great. I'm so fine with that. I don't think he needs to rely on Deadpool as much. Obviously I love seeing these
yeah,
two on screen together, but I will say this: I think they can go down with some more comic accurate routes with the stories. Obviously, this is a fresh Wolverine. It's someone, it's technically a new version
like a
of
Wolverine
Hugh.
versus Hulk or something like that.
Yeah,
All
that
right.
would be really cool to see. But as again, Deadpool's very much, Ryan Reynolds said like Deadpool's now going to be more of a side character, which is fine. He's had his trilogy. Iron Man had his trilogy, but he was still like the main character in the MCU.
Yeah,
Why can't Deadpool and Wolverine be the main characters
of
of the
X
Fox?
Force.
Whatever, yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's where I stand with it.
I think going back to the Daphne thing as well is it'll be a lot easier for people to. It's crazy, isn't it? That it'll be a lot easier for people to accept Daphne Keane as Wolverine in the X-Men than it would be if they recast Logan, which is crazy. That never happens, Oh, why are you replacing him with a female? Because they know they've watched this character grow up now in a weird way as well. Even though it's only been 2 films, I think people would be ready to I think people would accept Daphne being Wolverine over a recast of Hugh Jackman as Logan first.
I mean, they'd have to accept it regardless. I mean, you look at all the Spider-Man and the Batman we've got, like a recast. Yeah, people are at first are a bit butthurt by it, but at the end of the day,
Yeah,
people grow to love and appreciate these different versions. And I think, I'm up for a new Wolverine, new casting, a fresh new take on the character, but this is such a golden opportunity where you can continue this well-loved version of Wolverine, Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, continue that, do whatever you want with that, have it continue this solo groove that he's been doing for the past 20 odd years,
yeah,
and then have Daphne Keane as the new X-Men's Wolverine. She's still quite young, she still has a lot to learn, but I think she'd fit well within the X-Men team.
yeah. No, definitely. Do you know what you're saying there about Hugh Jackman Wolverine? All the X-Men films are basically about him anyway, apart from First Class and Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix. All the X-Men films are about Wolverine, pretty much anyway. And then he got the spin-offs as well. That's kind of reminds me of someone. I think it was in Star Wars Reddit, and they goes, "Does anyone want a Anakin Skywalker spin-off?" And it's like, dude, the whole thing's about him. He doesn't need spin-offs if the whole thing's about him. But then Fox were kind of like, yeah, no, we'll make all the X-Men films about Wolverine, and then we'll make spin-offs about Wolverine.
Yeah, it's funny how how these guys operate. But I mean, that was years ago. That was back when, you know, the whole concept of X-Men being in the movies was still quite fresh, quite new. They would have had to obviously do that because that was the most popular character. You know, I'm pretty sure team up superhero films, there weren't too many of them, if any at all, really. So the main focus is get a good established character, get someone who will keep people coming back for the sequels. And I get it from a business point, but we are so far into the future and so far past that now, you don't need to do that. But
What year are we living in?
it'd be
If we're so far
it'd
into the
be
future.
fine. We're in 2025.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Like Nuketown 2025.
No, not that cool.
Not that cool. Oh, that's a shame. Now, but Kyle, do you think there's a possibility that, you know, all we've been talking about since July is Hugh gonna do this, Hugh gonna do that, what Hugh gonna do? Do you think there is a possibility where he has actually just hung up the claws and he's just done?
I mean, you don't want to close the book on you know, he's kind of had that opportunity to close the book on the character, and I think in a way that I don't know, it's difficult because
Because he's had two
if
perfect endings now.
what I'll say to you, Callum, is I think the way they ended Deadpool and Wolverine, this variant of Wolverine just walking off. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, he did end up going back and sort of connecting with Deadpool's sort of family and things like that. But if he just walked off then and he didn't come back and he wasn't having dinner with all his family at the end of the film, and he just was like, right, I'm off, Bob. That's it. Whatever.
Yeah.
I said Bob. I meant Bob. But if he just walked
Alright,
off
Bob.
then, fine. Would have been absolutely fine.
Yeah. No, I'm completely with you because a lot of people are saying, you know, no, I don't think Hugh's going to be back because when Deadpool says to him, "Will I see you around?" and he's like, "Nah, I don't think you will." And
Yeah,
then
I
he
mean,
walks off. If he kept
he's in
walking, then, but he gives Logan. He turns, you know, he turns around and then open this new door of possibilities.
Well, that's the thing in it. But at the end of the day, I think if he did just walk away and that was it, that would have been fine. People would have probably accepted that because, you know, you've had this little bit of Wolverine come back and do the Deadpool stuff, have the yellow suit, be more comic book accurate, all these great things. But at the end of the day, people are still happy with that other closed book of let's say Logan, the Fox era of things. That book is closed. Whereas this now is like sort of like a new chapter for the Wolverine character in the movies, and it just so happens that Hugh Jackman is still able to do this role. He's going to be doing it till he's fucking 90 probably, but yeah, no,
Well, as of
I'm
right now, till he's 66. You know,
yeah.
so still
But
a couple of years
anyways,
off 90. The fucking liars.
but yeah, no, seriously, I I think the way to end this version of Wolverine is, you know, you don't need to do an emotional beat with how they did with Logan. You don't really need to do that again because it's not even technically the same
Yeah,
Wolverine.
we don't need another
Like I said,
death.
yeah, you could just have him walk off and that's it. We never really see him again. He's I
Yeah.
don't know out in the if you want lore context, like a reason why he's not in the films or why he doesn't really show up. He's out in the wilderness just being Wolverine.
Maybe he gets given, you know, some form of like the mutant cure against his own will. Something like that. So we don't see a death, but we know that he just gets to walk off peacefully into the sunshine and know, well, at least he won't be roaming forever. An end is going to happen eventually. Maybe.
Maybe.
There's
I
a reason
mean,
we're not writers.
maybe in like Avengers 10, he pops back in as like old man Logan,
No,
and
no, no,
it's
no,
like,
no, whoa, 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 whoa,
oh,
not Avengers 10, not Avengers 10. We've already got the title. Avengers X with the X-Men. But we got to wait another 4 Avengers films before we get to that.
yeah, but that'd be like Avengers versus the X-Men. That'd be pretty cool.
We're here, Marvel. Hire us. We'll give you all the shit ideas to stay away from. Just put us two in a room and just let us speak. It's like, yeah, we're not fucking doing that.
If we ever get into like a conference and Kevin Feige's on there, I just want to say like a movie or show idea, just anything random. I want to see if it happens because you remember that video I sent you a while back where it's Kevin Feige, he's at some sort of conference. Someone says to him, "Oh, I love the chemistry between Bucky and Sam. Are we
Yeah.
going to get some sort of like
A
team
road
up
trip
with them
movie.
two?
Yeah.
Yeah, or something like that."
And he
And
just looks
Kevin just
like,
goes, "That's a pretty good idea."
yeah.
And then boom,
Falcon and Winter
Winter
Soldier.
Soldier, Falcon and Winter Soldier. Yeah.
No, definitely. Right, guys. I think that will. I think that'll do us for today. Let us know down below if you want the Hugh to stick around, if you want the Hugh to go. Hugh knows what's going to happen. But all I need Hugh to do is press that like and subscribe button. And if you do that, that'll make me and Kyle very happy. I get no views in there. Right, see you later. See you in the next one. Don't know what the next one's going to be. Official Batman casting, calling it right now. That's happening. Next episode, that's what we're going to be talking about.